on? Thank you for coming back. 2 weeks can be a long time in the middle of the winter, so I'm really happy to see you all. And we always begin everything at Center for Spiritual Living with a spiritual mind treatment. Spiritual mind treatment. So just take a deep breath and let it out. And again. And as you continue to breathe in and out, let go of whatever you may have carried in with you. Let it go. Thoughts about the day, concerns about the weather, pressures, stress. Just breathe in that sense of well-being and let everything else go. And in that more open state, what I know is that there is only one. It's a power and a presence. It's love and light. It's spirit. It's divine. It's cause. It's energy. It's creative force. It's flow. Whatever it is. It is everything, everywhere, every when, and everyone. It is all of this physical universe and beyond. And since whatever it is with a capital I is all that there is, then we know that we are what it is. Not so much a part of it, not so much a reflection of it, but we are spirit in form as us. We are it, babies. Take it in. Take it in. We are it. There is nothing else for us to be, so we have to be it. So in that state of itness, we know that whatever it is, we are. So right here and right now, we claim our divine inheritance, a life of health, a life of wealth, a life of love, a life of joy, a life of success, a life of peace, a life of happiness. That is ours now, not tomorrow, not next year, not next lifetime. Right here and right now, and we claim it, we accept it, we notice it, we live it. We are powerful beings, created out of spirit itself, living a spiritual life. Right here and right now, we are blessed. And so how great it is that we get to come together and recognize the blessing that we are. How wonderful it is to live this life on planet Earth. And in that sense of fullness, we move into gratitude and thanksgiving for all that we have, for all the seen and the unseen. And then we just let it go because we have done our work. We have placed an idea in mind. And the only thing that can happen is that that creative mind brings it forth into form. As together we say, and so it is. Wonderful, wonderful. Am I coming out of that
microphone? Did you turn it off when you went on the phone? No. Oh, you put your microwave away.
Oh, I moved it when I was on the phone.
Okay.
Did anyone else see a yellow dog on the loose?
Liz?
No, good, then I'm knowing she's still locked up in her crate in the basement. Somebody saw a yellow lab on Sand Hill Road, which is odd that there would be two of them in the neighborhood, but who knows? Could have been her spirit dog self, out. I can't hear you, Deb.
This one didn't look quite as pretty as Liz.
Oh, good, it was an ugly yellow lab. Good with me, because everything in my life is good looking. Oh, good, good. So did you enjoy your week off last week? No. I understand some of you stretched it out to go through the entire week so that you could have an entire week off. I don't know what that was about. I was in the desert and it was in the 70s and they had the air conditioner on a little bit too cold, so I was a little chilly, but nothing like you people. Holy moly! So all is well. It's just weather. It's just cycles of life. I do want to bring your attention down to the floor. Take a peek. Thank you, Rick Sherrill. He waxed our floor. I don't know. I just feel better when things look good. You know? I just do. And so I'm very grateful for that. I feel like, oh, good, we're on top of things again. We've got wax on the floor. It's like having your house in order, you know? You ever feel that way with your house in order? You got your kitchen clean and your laundry done, it's like, oh yeah, I'm together. I can handle this. I'm Michelle. Pardon me?
No, I just wanted to see if I was in his way.
No, no. Okay, so 2 weeks ago, we went over the reading assignment of pages, I guess it's 55 to 74. And we talked about being a center of divine activity. We talked about, I don't remember 2 weeks ago, it's been a long 2 weeks, so if we didn't talk about this, let me know and we'll go over it. We talked about how important it was to be happy. This keeps coming up, and all of the writers of mental science, they say you have to master happiness. In the Tuesday morning class with Annie Ritt's primary lessons in healing, the first thing is that you must be happy. And if you are not well physically or in any of the bodies of your affairs, then the first thing to do is to master happiness. And I know people say, well, Barbara, that's all you ever talk about. Right. Because if we're not happy, we're sick, we're poor, we're struggling, we're focusing on the negative, we're constricting our life instead of opening up to that greater flow and greater good. Did we talk about that 2 weeks ago?
Could be.
Could be.
True practice. Be happy, live the present.
Good, 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 good. See the good in everything. Train your mind to focus on that which we call good. Train your mind to focus on the things that will lift you up instead of take you down. And this whole idea of mental science is all about disciplining your thought. If we understood how powerful our thought was, we would never again go unconscious. It's like we're walking around with lightsabers from Star Wars that will cut through anything, and we're just bumping around. We're bumping into our checkbook, and we're bumping into our relationships, and we're bumping into our body, and we're just cutting everything to shreds with our thought because we're not being aware. We're not being conscious. Hi, Lynn. Hi, Eric. So what we're doing is training our thought, and it doesn't have to be the big things. Well, I'll focus on world peace. No, 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 no. Why don't you focus on peace when you get up in the morning? Why don't you focus on peace when the neighbor's dog barks? Why don't you focus on peace when the hot water runs out? Or when the ice comes down, or when the car doesn't start, or something like that. Don't wait until you have something that warrants your attention. You warrant your attention. Your life warrants your attention. And it warrants it 24 hours a day. 24 hours a day. You get to focus on what you want. You get to count your blessings. You get to live in an attitude of gratitude. You get to discipline your thought so that you can hold it clear and true and have your life be the way you want it. If there is anything going on that you are not 100% thrilled about in your life, it is because you have not yet disciplined your thinking. And sometimes it's, you know, disciplining your thinking is really a far cry from what people are doing. I know when I came back, I had a message on both of my phones that someone who really should know better, I know I should, thou shalt not should on myself or others, I did. Someone who's been coming to this center for years and years and years that should have known better, had taken an opportunity that was socially justified to work themselves up into sadness. And they're just so sad about I'm not going to tell you that, about someone else doing something that they can't control. And just how sad that is. And I thought, I'm not your go-to sad person. And why aren't you here on Sunday? And why aren't you in my class? So that you can remember that working yourself up so that you can be sad is not a valid, is certainly not an effective use of your time. It's pretty much a waste of time. So I'm saying, discipline your thought every second of every hour of every day. Let's focus on what we want. And I know there are people who are looking for ways to milk an emotional feeling of sadness or anger or frustration or overwhelm. Every time we go into those states, we have orchestrated a long series of creations to be able to harvest that planting. And so look at your life. How is it going? How is it going? The first step of health and wholeness, of using spiritual principle, of mastering the science of mind has got to be happy. And if you're not happy, what's up with that? What is up with that? Oh, well, just things happen. You know, my movie didn't make it and it didn't win the best movie ever last night at the Academy Awards. So what? It has nothing to do with you. It has nothing to do with you. So what is it that's going on inside of you if you are not in your joy? Just a reminder. Just a reminder that your body won't heal without happiness. You will not be rich without happiness. Wallace Waddell says you may have money, but you will never be rich if you're not in your joy, if you're not giving, if you're not in tune with life. So you want to create happiness, you want to discipline your thought to the point where people think you're nuts. You know, who was that? Brother Lawrence, who was running around naked outside of the abbey or monastery or wherever he was. And was that Brother Lawrence? Was that some saint? That was the guy that spoke to the birds and the butterflies. St. Francis. That was St. Francis running around naked outside and talking to the birds and the bees. And
I never heard that story.
I didn't either. And so people were thinking he was nuts. I guess so. People were thinking he was nuts, and you have to be willing to be nuts and to be crazy to be able to have a different life than most people have. I don't want to live like everybody else. Everybody else is miserable. God, I just got back from Las Vegas. There are people intent on losing. Well, I brought $100 so I can, that's all I'm going to lose. I brought $1,000 and that's what I'm going to play with. And as soon as that's gone, I'm not going to play anymore. But isn't that how we set up our lives? This is as far as I'm going to let myself suffer, not realizing that that's what we're doing. I'm going to suffer, and so then we suffer. And how about I'm going to be in my joy, I'm going to be happy, I'm the one in charge, I'm the one in control. This is a very basic science of mind class, creative mind. Talks about how there's this universal mind and that you implant a thought in that creative medium and it takes it and it grows it and it plops it out in your life. It has the little seed and the soil and the plant and all of that, and give you a visual representation of what's going on in your life. And so then we look at our harvest, and if we don't like it, the only way to change it is in us. And so then we have the question, do I deserve to have a good harvest? Can you imagine the farmer looking out over the wheat field? Do I really deserve to have this wheat grow? Should I really accept it? Or perhaps prior to the harvest when he's planting, I don't know if I should plant all wheat. You know, maybe I'll just put in half thistle. Thistles are a pain in the butt in a field. Maybe I'll plant half thistle, and I don't mean artichokes that you can sell, and just kind of mess it up a little bit. But if I get half a crop, and if I work it to separate the wheat from the thistles, then I'll be okay and I can hold on for another year. That's crazy. That's crazy, but we do that. And then we look at that and we go, well, whatever, you know, I guess there's just more work to do, more discipline to have, more practice for me to have. One of the things I love about being me is that, you know, I'm just not like anybody else, and neither are you. And I go to be with my peers, and I look at them and go, oh, God, what have you done to this teaching? Yeah. What have you done to this teaching? That you have taken it and homogenized it to the state where nobody's doing anything. Nobody's doing anything, nobody's demonstrating, nobody's having healings, nobody's having money, nobody's having success, nobody's really joyous. They're worried about the bylaw amendments. And I'm going, what have we done to this teaching? And then the people that come in to lift us up, you know, are not metaphysicians at all, so we're trying to package our teaching so that we can take it out into the world and, you know, use social media and things like that. But I'm thinking, what have we done to this teaching? I love the idea that if you're not happy, get happy. If you're not healthy, I don't want to have a conversation about the side effects of your medication for your diagnosis. I want you to heal. We got a call from a minister in another center today that said they didn't know what to do, that one of their practitioners had gone on anti-Parkinson's medication, and that the side effects of the medication was making them crazy, and that they exposed themselves at a church party. Well, when I look at that as 100 years ago, we wouldn't have been worrying about the side effects of the medication. 100 years ago, we would have healed the condition of Parkinson's. And then we wouldn't have had the medication to have a side effect, to worry about the effects of the side effect and how people felt and what danger was the center in for having hosted a party that a practitioner exposed themselves in. It's crazy. We can go right to the source and say, you can be healed, you can be whole, you can be perfect, you can be successful, you can be happy right here and right now. You don't have to wait another minute for it. You don't have to have a process for it. You don't have to work it out. That is the unchanging truth of who you are. And when you just take a blink at that, things change like crazy. So the first step is that you must be happy. I know I'm masturbating. You must be happy. You must. That's step one. Jane.
The practitioner is probably quite happy when he explains.
I don't know, I'm not going to. You must be happy. You must be happy. You must be happy. I'm not going to give you any leeway on that. I just saw 600 unhappy metaphysicians. You know, really. I wanted to go around and shake people that knew better. Stop it. Stop living in the world of effect. Stop dealing with secondary causation. Stop trying to manipulate the people and circumstances outside of you to make the world safe for you so that you can be okay. You're not okay. You're divine. You're magnificent. You're amazing. You must be happy, and you must be happy now. God, that Barbara is such a hard-ass teacher. You know what she told us? She told us we must be happy right here and right now, and that we're not spiritual unless we're happy. We're not. We're not spiritual unless we are happy. We must be happy. Hi, Elise, you just caught the important part of it. Wonderful, wonderful. So tonight, we get to talk about prosperity. Your reading assignment for next week, for 2 weeks from tonight, I think it's to the end of the book, 74 to 93. Is 93 the end of the book? You've got website pages.
Yeah, I got website. It's, on the website.
No, that's website pages. Yeah, so you're going to read the rest of the book.
Okay.
But for tonight, we're going to talk about prosperity. Why are we talking about prosperity in a basic science of mind class?
It makes you happy?
No, prosperity does not make you happy, Becca. Who makes you happy?
If I'm happy.
Who makes you happy?
I did.
Yes, now that was from a 5-year-old of this center when his mother said, it would make me really happy if you and your sister would pick up your toys. And he looked at her and said, Mommy, who makes you happy? Who makes you happy? A little twist of that head. Who makes you happy? We make ourselves happy. I will tell you, money will run to a happy person and it will run away from an unhappy person. Yeah. So why are we talking about prosperity in a basic science of mind class? Becca, Sandy.
It's all good. In the prosperity class itself, you can actually, it's easier to play with, it's fun to play with because you can have it in your hand. It's a good manifestation exercise.
It's a good exercise. Why else? Why are we talking about prosperity, Sarah?
I feel like it's a good starting point to let you know where you are because it reflects where you are.
So it's a good measurement of where you are. Who else? Why are we talking about prosperity?
It's a spiritual thing to help people with money.
It's what?
It's a spiritual thing.
It's a spiritual thing to help people with money. Larry and then Susan, and then we're gonna
Same
move on.
thing on law, it's a law.
It's the law, absolutely, and Susan.
I was going to say it's part of the abundance.
It's part of the abundance. You are rich. You cannot be spiritual and be poor at the same time. And that is a lie that has been fabricated around the planet for millennium. Or plural would be millennia. You cannot be spiritual and be rich. Oh, well, look at the Catholic priests. Have you ever seen where Catholic priests live?
They don't have to
They're not poor. Well, what about Jesus? Oh, he wasn't poor. Jesus had a treasurer.
Yeah.
Have you ever been in a group? If you have a treasurer, what do you have? Money. If you have money, you get a treasurer. Jesus also had a seamless garment. I don't know about you, but I've got seams in all my garments. And I've got some pretty nice garments. And yet they all have seams. So this idea that we are somehow pleasing some anthropomorphic deity by suffering and struggling and experiencing lack is not spiritual. To be rich is to be spiritual. I want you to get that. You have to be rich and happy. Wow, what a different paradigm. You have to be. It's your job to be rich and happy, to be a manifestation of spirit. If the sunrise is going to be the sunrise, it has to have light come through the layers of the atmosphere, which will make color. If the sunrise doesn't have light, because it doesn't want to be pretty, because it might upset the moon set or the sunset or something like that, and so it pulls its light in, do you have a sunrise? Don't go all as astronomical on me. Do you have a sunrise? No. So here you are as this amazing spiritual being, alive and well on planet Earth, shining and being in your joy and being rich and full of who you are in the presence of the divine, and then it comes to money and you go. You're not helping anybody. You're not helping anybody by pulling your energy in. On the contrary, the more that you can push the envelope of race consciousness and abundance, the better the entire planet will be. I remember when my son was young and Bill Gates was young and he was just not happy with Microsoft. Microsoft was taking over the world. And Microsoft was in everybody's business, and then you get this operating system, and you've got to buy their programs to go with their operating system, and it's just not right. And then I see that Bill Gates went to Warren Buffett and had him donate billions of dollars. Talked him out of leaving it to his kids. He said that you can leave it to your kids and they'll squander it. You can keep it, you can try to say that what people will do with it after you're dead and hope that they do that with your money. Or you can spend your money now on what you would really like to see happen. And he gave Bill Gates half of his money. And they're almost at the point where malaria has been eradicated from the planet. Now, you only do that when you're big and out there. And there are a lot of people who have held their children in their arms and they've died from malaria, who would think that dying from malaria is not spiritual, and having their children live would be a spiritual experience. So you want to spread the light, you want to spread the love, then you've got to be out there to have the means to do it. I really believe that you're not going to get rich if you're not happy. You've got to be happy first. Because the default is, well, money will make me happy. Yeah, money will make me happy, you know? I looked at this floor for years, just knowing it was waxed and polished and all of that. I was going to give my power away to it. I tried to create a waxing day one day, and only one person showed up, so that didn't work. But didn't get my power away to it, just was happy and loved this room, and at the same time claimed that I have a right to have a waxed floor and that I stand on good stuff, you know? I stand on good stuff. And so the floor eventually got waxed. Probably when I had accepted, the floor got waxed. When I stopped doing whatever it is I was doing. But you've got to be happy to have that which you want come into your world. If you're not happy, let's say these are vibrations. Here's the vibration of happiness, here's the vibration of money. Oh, I'm so sad. I totally missed you. And you've been creating that for so long, and it finally showed up in your life, and oh, I'm so sad, and off it goes, and it hits Breezy, and Breezy goes, whoa, I got all this money come in. I don't know what happened, I was just hanging out, sewing and feeling good and singing and just being my blissful, joy-filled self, and all this money came in. And I'm going, WTF? What did I do to lose my creation, to lose my money? You have to be happy, and I tell you, it is effort well worth it. I had someone tell me, well, that's easier said than done, and I said, no, it isn't. I know, it's harder to be miserable than it is to lift yourself out of misery. It is easier to do whatever it takes to lift yourself up than it is to live in that abyss and that overwhelm and that struggling and suffering. That's what's hard. Yeah. So don't try to give me, well, that's easy for you to say, it's easier said than done. No. Living a life of desperation, of panic, of fear is very difficult. And you know, whatever it takes, 1,000 affirmations a day, spiritual mind treatment, coming to the center every time the doors get unlocked, I don't care what it is, listening to Barbara, having a bobblehead on the dashboard of your car that is Barbara's face, to remind you of who you are, whatever it takes. Whatever it takes is easier than the alternative, which is to live a life that is not happy. You don't want to die and go, God, I wish I had been happy. And that's just the first step. And the next step is to be rich. Oh, well, being rich is for other people. No, there are no other people. There is only one, and that one is you. So one of the things that I often say when we're doing the prosperity acceptance at the end of class is that we're not as weak as the weakest link of a chain. That is such a limited thought. We're as strong as the strongest one. We're as rich as the richest one. We're as big as the biggest one among us. Because we are all one. And so think about it. In your experience of life, and I know you don't know everybody on the planet, but you know of a lot of people. Who are the rich ones? Align yourself with that. Ernest says, every day I think of big things. I think of really big things. I think of all the stars. I think of giant corporations. I think of global transactions of billions and billions of dollars. He didn't say that, I'm saying that. I think of big things to expand myself. Now, you're expanding yourself, and where does that money go? Here's your happiness, your consciousness, and the money's right there. Boom. Just like that. What is it that makes money find one person and not another? The person. The person. Somebody in North Carolina won that giant lottery, Powerball. How many of you bought a ticket? What happened? They were in vibrational alignment with the acceptance of all that money. Our job is to get happier. To get happier, to be more joy-filled, to be more loving, to experience more gratitude for our life so that the money that is coming by us, you know, it's all around, it hits us. It hits us in a way that we grab hold of it. Boy, I love being in Vegas. I throw craps. Crap. And I was at the crap table, and there are people who come by and they just drop thousands of dollars. You know, they'll throw it down there in a wad, a pile, and then the dealers will count it out, it's like $4,000, $5,000, and they'll give them the chips, now it's all play money, and they'll take it, and they'll put it in a little slot, and it's disappeared. It's gone. But people are walking around with tens of thousands of dollars in cash in their pocket. Expand into that. Expand into that. It's like, that was beautiful to me. And I love the way they do it, very organized. They have their chips very organized. Everything is very respectful of the money as it goes into the casino's pocket. Jane.
I was at Vegas one time I didn't, this is before.
Okay, does this have anything to do with what we're talking about?
Yes.
Okay.
It has to do with how to think small and not
Okay.
go anywhere. Because for some reason, I was playing blackjack,
Mhm.
and I just kept getting one blackjack after another. All this money, and I thought, oh my God, what's going on? And then so what I devised the system of winning and then saving half of my winnings and playing that on the next hand.
Okay, but what does this have to do with playing small? Because I think that's very sound, what you
Well,
just
it's not
said.
sound, because by the end of the evening, I won several $100s, but the dealer looked at me and he said, lady, he said, I've never seen cards like that before. He said, if you knew what you were doing, you would be walking out of here with thousands of dollars.
If you had been willing to bet the whole thing.
But I just was frightened to.
Okay, so it was fear that guided you.
Yeah.
Okay, okay.
And also, it was also took the enjoyment out, because I'm thinking, ooh, how can I play in such a way that I don't lose?
Right, that you don't lose.
And I was more worried about that.
Not knowing that we can never lose.
Yeah.
We can never lose. There's no way for spirit as us to lose. Money may come and go. Jobs, people, cars, houses, all of that may come and go, but that doesn't mean that we lose. We can never lose. There's nothing to lose. Everything is right here and right now. It's all one. It's all us. So appreciating the amount of cash that is going around in the world, and I used to feel this way in Miami. It was like money is just flying by in Miami. There was so much black market money and money in people's pockets. And I rented a car once in Miami and opened the glove box, and there was the clip filled with bullets for a gun. You know, just a whole different world down there. So there's all this money flying around, and my question is, how do I raise my vibration to a point where I am in alignment with that and it finds me? I just want to go ahead and go on, okay?
Oh, sure.
Because you have your hand up, thanks. So I want to raise my vibration to a point where money finds me, but to do that, I have to be findable. I can't have my head in the sand, I can't be hiding in the corner and then wondering why fame and fortune has not sought me out. Well, my goodness, I didn't even come out of the house. I didn't even get off the couch. I didn't even metaphorically put myself out there in any way, shape, or form. What can you do? You've got to be happy. And then you've got to be rich. And if that scares you or if that overwhelms you, that is exactly the place for you to start. Oh, Barbara says I have to be rich. My God, money is my Achilles heel. I'm working on money. I don't even know if I'm going to be able to cash this check. I don't even know if I have a job. Blah, 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 blah. It's your job to experience life as a blessing, to look at all that you have now, to experience gratitude for everything. You live in the United States of America. You live in the richest country in the world. The homeless and the poor here have way more than people in other countries who are upper middle class. My God, oh, I'm homeless. Yeah, but you get to go in the shelter if you want to. You don't have to. You get to have a meal. You get to have social programs. You get medical care if you're homeless. My goodness. We live in the richest country of America, and as far as I know, although that has not been the case in all of my classes, no one in here is homeless. I did have a wonderful homeless student once. It was great. It was a wonderful process. He found us homeless. And he was living in his car, and he'd go to the shelter, and it took him a number of months, but he pulled himself out of being homeless because he didn't want to be homeless. There are plenty of people who want to be homeless. He didn't want to be homeless. So this was, if you do this, you will not be homeless. And he was very motivated. And he pulled himself out, and I'm thinking, gosh, anybody can use these principles to live a wonderful life. So if you have stuff coming up, well, Barbara, you don't know my story, you don't know my past, you don't know the issues I face, I can't just be happy. I can't just be happy. I have this burden on my back that I have to carry around with me. I've been rejected. My parents didn't love me the way I wanted to be loved. I don't have all of the support that I need. I need some self-care. No, you don't. You need to be happy, and you need to be happy now. There is no other moment. And then look at what you've got. Look at what's going for you. You've got the Center for Spiritual Living Asheville. I tell you, this is one of, if not the, best center in the world. It is in the world. Really. You've got support from people. You've got 20-some odd practitioners. You've got great ministers and teachers. You have resources that help you focus. You've got friends, you've got people, you've got great, we're not meeting in a strip center. We're not having our Sunday celebration in the Scottish Rite Hall, and then we have to leave. You know, we're not like that. You've got a place, you've got a lot going on for you. Each and every one of you has a place to go home and go to sleep tonight. Be grateful for that. Oh, I really want a sleep number bed. I know, this is just an old bumpy map. Shut up. Because everything that comes out of your mouth is an idea, a seed, planted in creative mind, in universal unformed substance that will manifest in your life with amazing clarity. And if you have anything that is less than happiness and joy, it is your spiritual job to move into happiness and joy. If you have anything that says, oh, I can only go to McDonald's to get breakfast. Hey, you can go to McDonald's and get breakfast. My goodness, you get breakfast. Isn't that wonderful? And I know people in here, you're going to Whole Foods, you're going to Green Life, you're going to Earth Fair, you're getting all the organic stuff, and you're making your green juices, and you got this supplement, and that supplement, and this oil, and this acupuncture appointment, and that massage appointment. You're doing great. You're doing great. Each and every person in this room is doing great. And when you move into that, your vibration shifts, and the money that's flying all around you, I want you to get it. There is money flying all around you. Can't you see it? You can see it in your mind's eye. You want to hook up with something? Hook up with that money. And you do it by being a match. You know, Match.com. Match your money. Match your money. I'm going to do a talk on that. Match your money. Because it's trying to find you in dualistic languaging. Your money is trying to find you because you were created out of infinite prosperity and abundance. It is not only your divine inheritance, it is the truth of your being right now. And so many of us, we feel this urge and this desire to be open, to be connected, to be loving, to be spiritual, to do quote-unquote good with our life, and yet we let something like money dominate us, overwhelm us, put us into fear, so that we pull back, and then we don't get to live the life that we wanted to. You could eradicate malaria. Bill Gates is not the only one who can do that. You can do that. You have established water in villages in Cambodia, stopped children from being kidnapped on the way to pick water up and sold into child sex slave markets. There are billboards in Cambodia when you land and come out of the airport that say, if you have come to steal our children, we will find you. You know, you stopped that. You stopped that by building wells, by building, oh, thank you, by building schools. Come on, baby.
It's gone all through all four permutations.
Huh, okay, so you've done that. You want to feel like an entrepreneur? Give yourself a pat on the back. What have you done in this lifetime? Well, I saved the lives of countless children. I changed the lives of villages. And the way to combat communism is through education. It's not through war, it's through education. Poverty, when a country is poor, they are wide open to be attacked and to be overrun by a different kind of government. So the way that you change that is you raise the experience of prosperity in that country and you educate the children, and that's what you did. That's what you did. Give yourself a pat on the back. Let that big amount of money that's coming for philanthropists come to you, because you did that. And don't do that. Well, I need $10. Don't do that. You stood for the greater good. You stood for that which connects us all and lifts us all and prospers us all. It is basic spirituality. You have to be happy and you have to be rich. Now, I'm not going to say that there is a dollar amount on your richness, but you got to feel rich and you got to act rich and you got to live rich. You just have to. There's no way out. And every time you go against that universal force, it is like the apple tree saying, I'm not going to make apples anymore. You know, I've made apples for 10 years now, and I just think that I'm pushing all the little apple trees out of the way because my apples are so great. Everybody comes running over to me to make apples, so I'm not going to make apples anymore. That tree's dead. It is a dead tree. And if all the apple trees decided to do that, we would never have apples again. If all the trees, fruits, and vegetables decided to do that, we would all die. We would live in a dead planet. So you can't pull back. You gotta push yourself out there. You gotta go the extra mile. And like Jane said, maybe don't play it safe. Do you want to go out to lunch? Yes, I want to go out to lunch. Great, let's go out to lunch. I am spending my last dime to go out to lunch. Great. You're going to have more dimes, I guarantee you. The world is filled with dimes. Enjoy going out to lunch. Have some positive vibes going from you into the world because you went out to lunch. What'd you do? I went out to lunch. I went out to lunch with people that I love. I had wonderful conversations about what's good and right in the world. I enjoyed the food that I ate. My body feels fantastic, and I'm living a great life. Watch money find you. It'll find you. If money's not finding you, what are you doing to send it away?
Is that important to figure out?
Yes, it is. It's to tell you that you can stop it. If every morning you get up and you go into fear, oh my God, what am I going to do? I don't know how I'm going to make enough money. I need a certain amount of money by the end of the day, and I'm just not sure where it's going to come from, and I don't know what to do because I don't know what to do because, you know, this is just, I'm so overwhelmed. I just don't know what to do. It's called interpersonal relationships. Yeah, so stop it. I used to know people whose partner would come home and they would come home not terribly happy, and they would say, no, you don't get to come in the house until you clean it up. So they even built a room on the house for them to go in until they were able to shift and let it go and be part of a happy family, and then they could come into the family. I think that's fantastic. We should do that for ourselves. We should sequester ourselves and simply work on our state until we can be the amazing spiritual being we're meant to be, and then we go out into our world. Otherwise, we're taking all of that stinking thinking with us, and all we're going to do is create the expression of that. And that is not your job. Your job is to be happy. You may not know where the money's coming from. You may not know what you're going to do that day. But if you are happy and if you start taking notice of all of the blessings around you and how great you have it, you will end up at the end of the day and everything will be fine. How? I don't know, but it will be. It cannot not be. It has to be. So Ernest says about prosperity, forget all else and think only upon what you want. Control all thought that denies the real. Denies the real. The real is that we are blessed, we are abundant, we are powerful, we are amazing spiritual beings. Life is rich, and we are rich. And anything that you think that doesn't say that is going to stop you from being prosperous. So if it's, well, odds are, no, I don't play by odds. We used to have a Powerball group here. The practitioners had a little group that would buy a certain number of Powerball tickets, and we would treat and affirm and love the tickets and all of that. And then one day someone said, well, maybe we should take our winnings and invest them into more tickets because the odds are, I said, whoop, I'm out. I didn't know we were dealing with odds. If you deal with odds, the odds are in the Powerball's favor. I don't deal with odds. I deal with consciousness. And when I went over to the crap table, because the people there were screaming in their joy, they were laughing, saying, we don't know what we're doing, but this is so much fun. And everybody was winning, and like Jane, everybody was winning over and over and over again. And I put my money down and just won and won and won and won and won, till I really did have to take it all and go, because I had an appointment. That's not dealing with odds, that's dealing with consciousness. So how do you make your life a screaming, joy-filled love fest that you cannot help but win? When all the odds say you shouldn't be winning, when the odds are against you, how do you make it so that you can only win? You create that energy inside of you, that vibration, that experience of just pure joy. Pure joy. That's why you've got to get happy. You've got to learn how to be happy for no reason at all. You're just happy. No, Jane. You're just happy. Happy, happy, happy. And then you focus on the fact that you're rich. Not only am I happy, but I'm rich. I'm so happy I'm rich. I'm so rich I'm happy. Yay! And then you come in with the giant check, like Tom Wright did, and say, I won the Powerball. I won the Powerball. Now why did he get it and not the person next to him? Consciousness, energy, focus. Whatever it is that's going on in you, you have created. So you have this huge, huge bag that you can reach into and pull out anything you want and create your life. The only thing that mind can do is take what you put into it and create it and give it back to you. That is the only thing that it can do. It cannot say no. It cannot caution you. It cannot bring up your past and say maybe you shouldn't. You can do that. But it can't. The only thing that it can do is give you whatever it is you want, whatever you focus on, whatever you experience, whatever you believe, whatever it is that you think is going to happen, mind will make sure it happens. So I don't want you to take this teaching and then look at, well, okay, I'm going to grow a little bit this year. I'll grow a little bit. I'll go from a 1-bedroom apartment to a 2-bedroom apartment. And boy, didn't I do a good job? I did my affirmations, I meditated, and I created a 2-bedroom apartment. That is not good enough. You are my student. You are to be rich. You are to be rich. You are to be rich. And whatever that means to you, you are to be rich. But I don't want you letting yourself off the hook. And there is no hook if you're in your joy. You're just sliding down they were going to do a slip and slide in Asheville. I left town. What happened to the slip and slide?
Oh, it's coming in the
It's
summer.
in July.
Oh, good. It's like you're sliding down the giant slip and slide down the hill in Asheville. You're just flying through life. You're not holding on to anything. You're not processing. You're not measuring. You're just going, whee! That's your spiritual path. My spiritual path is whee! It's true. It's true.
It's the happiness.
Okay.
The happiness is bursting out.
You will rob no one by becoming prosperous. How many of you think that there's only so much? What is that?
I don't know.
Something on the way.
How many?
It's you. It's you.
How many? Am I still on there?
Yeah.
How many of you think that if you get something, somebody else doesn't? Good. Good. How many of you think that there's any kind of disloyalty to parents or family or friends for prospering? What will people think of me? Well, I'm just putting on airs, getting too big for my britches. You know, that's growth. Too big for your britches? It's called growth. So you will rob no one. For that matter, there's a concept that if you... Whoa! Thank you, Breezy. Just shut it down. There we go. So there's an idea that says, not only if you get rich will you not rob anybody, but you actually give to them. If we're one and we're getting happy and rich, what does that do to the oneness that we are? We are happy and rich. And my oneness happens to reflect as Vivian, but it's still me. So the best thing I can do for Vivian is to be happy and to get rich. And take that and extrapolate it out. Well, what about the starving children? And what about the epidemic here and the war there? The best thing you can do for that is to be happy and rich, because we are vibrational beings living in a vibrational world, a vibrational universe. We are spiritual beings, and the more that we can allow that spiritual essence that we are to come forth into form, the more that it lifts everybody up. If we live in a world of darkness, the best thing we can do is to light a light. Ah, how dare you light that light? Don't you know we all have an agreement that it's dark? No. Here's my light. Well, that's just one little light. What do you think you're going to do? Change the whole world? Yes. Yes. Because I lit the light. Light, a light, a light, a light. So, whenever you allow yourself to be more fully who you are, not who your story is or your past is or the circumstances of your life, but really to be who you are, God in form as you, then you lift everybody else. Haven't you ever been around somebody and they remind you of who you are? Like, yes, I forgot. I remember who I am. I'm bigger than this circumstance or situation. I created this circumstance or situation. If I created it, I'm bigger than it. If I created it, I can create something else. I can uncreate it. I can move forward, or I can just completely ignore it and go off in a different direction. I've done that with marriages. Isn't that true? You know, sometimes you just, time to go. Go into a whole different life. So Ernest says, you will rob no one by becoming prosperous, for the laws that underlie this state of being are simple and easy to understand and not hard to attain for the one who is willing to let go of the negative state of being. You've got to let go of that negative state of being. You've got to risk the smile. Risk it. Just risk it. Yeah. Money seeks out a smile. Money seeks out a happy person. And as that happens, you take another step along your spiritual path. In the Tuesday morning class, Primary Lessons in Healing, it's all about physical healing. One person treating another person for a physical healing. The very first thing she says is that before you can do any of this, you must be happy. You must be happy. And then if you're happy and you have an awareness of how life is working, that everyone is God in form and has an inherent health and wholeness within them, or an inherent prosperity, or an inherent success, or an inherent joy within them, and you train yourself to see that and to live in that reality, you become a healing presence. And people change around you. And I'm not 100% sure that it's to the state where we go, heal, you know, that kind of thing. But if you can see someone clearly as the divine being that they are, things change in their world, and that comes from your clarity in who you are. Judith.
My mother said something to me the other day that I've never heard. She said, I've never been more comfortable with you than I am now. And it hit me like a ton of bricks because.
No ton of bricks.
Well, only because I qualify that because I realized that I've never been, I mean, since I've been here and coming here, my life is totally different.
You are more comfortable with yourself
Exactly.
than you have ever been before, so your mother reflects that back to you as being more comfortable with you. Now, what's going to happen when you're really loving yourself, when you're joyous with who you are, when you're embracing that God as Judith completely, your mother's going to run into your arms and say, Judith, my darling, I'm so happy to see you. Yeah.
It's a big deal.
It is a big deal. If it's not one thing, it's your mother, you know? Moms are a big deal. Simple rules of prosperity. Nothing happens by chance. That's this idea that there is something that is accepting what we are giving it and bringing it forth into form. In quantum physics, we talk about it being a unified field, and that there are infinite packets of possibility awaiting our observance of them. And as soon as that which is observed, as soon as the observer observes that packet of possibility, then it collapses into form. That's the way science talks about it. In metaphysics, we talk about this unformed substance, this mirror of mind, this creative mind that we impress with our thoughts, with our words, with our beliefs. And the only thing that can do is take that which we give it and bring it forth into form. It's all the same thing. It's all the exact same thing. Nothing happens by accident. There is only one, and we are not even reflections of spirit, because a reflection doesn't have any substance to it. If I look at the reflection in the mirror, that's not me. That's a reflection. So even be mindful of your words. You are you're not even a creation of spirit, because then you have the creator and the creation. You are spirit. You are it. Ernest says you are an individualization of spirit in form. You're like the light bulb in the box with the holes punched in it. And the light comes out and looks like separate rays because it's coming through the box. Time and space being like the box, and we all look like separate rays, but we are really the light from the one bulb, the divine bulb. We are the light. We're not different from each other. If they change the light, everybody changes. And so we have the opportunity, through the realization of who we truly are, our true nature, of changing the experience of everybody. You want to change the world? Get happy. Get happy. I wanted to go through that conference and say, where's the happiness? Did you miss that? Are you still processing your forgiveness work? Are you changing your story? Are you sharing deeply? Where'd the happy go? Because if you're not happy, you're not doing it. And then you go from happiness to rich, to prosperity, to abundance, to experiencing the great wealth that each of us already has right here and right now. Is there anybody that willingly did not, that did not eat today unwillingly? Everybody ate something? Great. Is there anyone who hasn't showered in a week? Not by choice. Is there anyone that took a cold bath out in the stream or under a frozen waterfall? No. We have things that most people on the planet would look at royalty. We are royalty. And if we are denying that experience, maybe in a past life we said, boy, I'd really like to be royalty, have hot water, what a concept. Running water, a toilet, oh my gosh. And here we are, we've incarnated into an experience of royalty because there are so many of us evolving in consciousness, there's a lot of us, being in that state of royalty, and we're dissing it by looking at what we don't have instead of what we do have. And as soon as we do that, the vibration goes down and the money goes right over. Match your money. You want a lot of money? You gotta have a lot of happiness. You gotta have a lot of feeling that things are great. If you're going to match that and have it find you, have it come into you, and it's not just about being open, it's not just about being willing, it's about matching vibrationally what you want to have. You want to have love in your life? You gotta love yourself totally. You want someone else to love you? Why do you think John thinks I'm so great? Because I think I'm so great. I really do. I think I'm amazing. I think I'm fantastic. And so people come into my life, they go, oh my God, Barbara Waterhouse, you're amazing. You're fantastic. I know. You're a reflection of me. And if you want to have love in your life and then you start putting yourself down and criticizing yourself and making yourself wrong and knocking yourself down, 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 nobody's going to love you. When nobody loves me, that's because you're not loving yourself. There are no coincidences. There are no accidents. Everything is a manifestation of you. You. And you have things to do in this world, in this life. You'll never do it if you're not happy. You'll never do it if you're not rich. Let's take a break. Great. So the idea of prosperity is that we already are prosperous. We don't have to get something to be prosperous. The idea of prosperity is that we live already in a prosperous universe. That no matter what our personal physical experience may be, it doesn't deny the fact of the spiritual truth of us that there's always more than enough. That money is rushing to us. What is it Emerson said? Hast not enough, lo, thy good rushes to meet thee. And I like that feeling that my good is rushing to meet me, taking it out of the futuring and all of that. I have it now, but I like that feeling that money is seeking me out. You know, I used to have a feeling that bad people were seeking me out, so this is a better feeling. Money is seeking me out. I always have more than enough. I live and move and have my being in an abundant universe. If you want to read one of the people that Ernest read about prosperity, and some of the Science of Mind textbook on prosperity sounds like it's cut and pasted from him. That is Wallace Wattles' The Science of Getting Rich. And what Wallace Wattles does to try to give you a way to wrap your head around it is in the formed universe. There are more trees than we would ever need to make mansions for every man, woman, and child in the planet. There is more gold than it would take to make every person on the planet wealthy beyond their wildest dreams. There is more in the physical world than we could ever deplete. And in the unformed substance, that has no end at all to it. So if you want to give yourself something to wrap your head around, there is more in this world today than we could ever use, and I totally stand on that. And in the unformed world, there is no limit to that which shows up in physical form. So there is no way that we can ever run out of food, of water, of raw materials, of whatever it is we might want to have the experience of life on planet Earth be everything that we want it to be. We're not going to run out of ways to go to Jamaica. We're not going to. There are plenty of ways to go to Jamaica. I don't know why that popped in my head. That came from you, son. Jamaican crazy. So the basic premise is that if spirit is all that there is, then spirit must be an ever-expanding something. Otherwise, you would have a limit on the edge of spirit, and then you would have spirit and something that was not spirit. So whatever spirit is, it must be expanding. And I was fascinated when they sent the Hubble telescope out, and this was, 20 years ago, and they tried to take pictures of the edge of the universe. And this is only in physical form that we're looking for. This is what NASA scientists do. They say, let's take a picture of the edge of the universe. And so all of the photos that they were taking of trying to get to the edge of the universe, which they couldn't get to, but the photos were coming back what's called red shifted. And when light is moving away from you and you take a picture of it, it shifts to the red part of the light spectrum. So what they said was, not only can we not find the edge of the universe, but everything that we can find as far out as we can go is still moving away from us. So in this physical realm, we have that which is whole and complete and yet still growing at the same time. When we look at the idea that whatever we are, whatever spirit is, whatever this energy is, it's even beyond the physical, then we can move into these, starting to get to the object of grokking and one hand clapping, and if the tree falls and nobody hears it, it'll really make a sound. When we go beyond that which we can see and touch and taste and feel and smell, then we start getting into just abstract concepts. But the abstract concept is that if there were ever an end to whatever it is that we are calling spirit, we're just slapping a word on it to try to give it a label, if there was ever a place where it stopped, then because we would have the oneness, the unified field, spirit, and something that was not that, we would not be able to hold time and space together. Literally, time and space would not be able to exist without a oneness. I know that's complicated, take a breath. Because we're going to get a little more complicated. And so in order to have a oneness, or in order to have this unified field, then not only must it exist beyond any way we can conceive of measurement, but it must exist at every point in its totality simultaneously. So that means that all that spirit is must exist at the point of you right now, and you, and you, and you, and everybody else. And if it didn't, time and space would not be able to hold together, and we would not be here. The very fact that we are here is proof that all of spirit manifests at the point of us right now. We're not a child of God. We're not a piece of God. We're not a part of God. We're not evolving into God. We are God. And it must be all of us right now. So take that into the realm of prosperity. All of anything that we call prosperity, whether it's time or money or opportunity or love or experience or things you can hold in your hand or drive or live in or whatever, all of that has to exist at the point of you right now. You already own everything, not only in this world, but in this entire universe. It's yours. It must be yours, or you couldn't be. So I want you to start wrapping your head around or expanding into a greater idea of the prosperity that you already are. Not what you're going to work 2 jobs to save up enough money to go and get, but the prosperity that you already are, to go beyond what you're thinking you're going to get to make you happy, and embrace this realm of prosperity that is so far beyond a new car. I mean, you own the entire worlds in the Star Wars series. They're all yours. Everything is yours. And when you start getting that I've got it, and I'm happy, and I've got it, and I'm happy, and I've got it, and I'm happy, and I've got it because I'm happy, I've got it. Whatever it is, you start expanding past what you think is going to make you happy. You start shifting your entire perspective of who you are. And the vibration goes up, and the vibration goes up, and the vibration goes up, to where you are blissed out just sitting in Barbara's Monday night class. You're blissed out. Somebody could give you millions of dollars and it wouldn't make you any happier than you are now. So when you are feeling that, guess who the millions of dollars go to? Or what that might open up for you? Or what kind of life? People say, Barbara, I don't want to have money. I have lots of money. I have more money than I know what to do with. Great. So move into that state of love. Look in the mirror and stop yourself dead in your own tracks and go, God, you are amazing. You are fantastic. You are wonderful. You're everything I've ever wanted to be. And that's you. Fall in love with yourself. Appreciate yourself. You know when you're in a relationship with someone and they just do this little thing, they just turn their head and you go, God, I just love that. You know? Do that. Do that. Turn your head and go, God, I just love that. I love that when I do that. I'm just so happy. And I'm so filled with love. And that love cannot be contained, and it's contagious. And so it goes out and it touches everybody else. And then the whole group rises up in vibration. So money is a byproduct of your vibrational state. It doesn't determine who you are. It simply is a byproduct of who you are. And if you ever think that there's not enough, stop and consider that in order for you to be all that God is, must be at the point of you right now. So what is it? If all of God is showing up as you, well, I don't know if God can do a car. Maybe a used car. Maybe, God, I don't have more than 50,000 miles on it, because God just can't do that. Come on. Come on. What is it that you want to move into, that you want to expand into? You want a car? Great. Own the manufacturing company. You want a car? Own the creation of the steel or the aluminum. You want a car? Own the tire industry. Own the oil fields. Own those and watch the car show up. Because the car has to follow that kind of vibration. But if you're all worried about how much you're going to make as a payment, I find it fascinating that people buy cars based on their payment. Well, how much of a payment can you make? What does that have anything to do with anything? I want to know how much the car costs because, frankly, I'm going to write you a check for it. So I don't care about the payment. Well, how much of a payment can you make? Let's see if you can have a bigger payment. That's crazy stuff. Own the entire auto industry. Own the New York Stock Exchange. And all of the dark exchanges that go through the payment seconds. You know, so much happens before a stock transfers in a second. Do you know that there are entire industries going on making billions of dollars in the piece of a second before your sale of an AT&T or whatever stock happens, even though you think, oh, it happened in a second. You know how many people got rich in the middle of that second? It's fascinating what's going on. There's money everywhere. All we have to do is just open up to that. So open up the entire stock exchange. Own that. Own the entire precious metals industry. Take it in. Grow. Expand. And watch how that which you thought would make you happy simply tracks you down and drives into your driveway or pushes its way into your bank account or shows up in your arms. Expand. That's why Ernest said every day I expand into a thought of something big, whether it's stars in the sky or whether it's big business, I unify with that, this languaging. I would say I own it, I claim it, I know that it's mine, and that grows me a little bit. Instead of worrying about West End auto sales and whether or not they're gonna give me a car that's not gonna be a clunker for the payments that I can afford. Do you see the whole different world? Move into the world of prosperity. The prosperous premise is that you already are richer than you can even fathom. You are richer than you can imagine. And that it is our job to take our rightful place as wealthy beings. And if we are not taking that wealthy place, we are actively sabotaging ourselves. Probably, since you have the thrust of the entire universe wanting to give you that which you already have, that which is yours, and if we're going to sabotage that, we're going to have to put a lot of effort up into staying poor. People come up to me and they say, oh, I want you to treat for my prosperity. Well, tell me what's going on. Well, I can't pay my rent. It's like, wow, you can't pay your rent. You are in an infinite universe of prosperity and abundance, and you are so powerful that you can hold back the forces of all of life itself and not pay your rent. I stand in awe of your power. All we have to do is take that and shift it. And then that which we thought was going to be a disaster turns out to be a jumping point into an amazing blessing. You know, think about the last person that left you. Oh, they left me. Good. Good. They weren't right for you, or they'd still be here. So let it go and move on and find your blessing. You live in a universe of blessings. You are created out of love itself. If you're not feeling love, you are so holding it away that it's taking all of your energy. And sometimes you don't even have to do a lot of work. You just have to stop saying no to life. Just let the door crack a little bit and watch the tsunami of money and happiness and love and joy and success rush into your life. If you just stop holding it back. And again, if you're not happy, if you're not rich, if you're not living the life of your dreams, consider that you are using amazing God power to hold that back. It's as if you could say to the ocean, stop, and it stops. The amount of energy, of power, of clarity, of being poor that it takes to hold back the prosperity of life is amazing. You know, you can't even suffocate yourself. Life will live as you. You can hold your breath, pass out, and what are you going to do?
Breathe.
Breathe. Isn't that true? Life will have its way with you, Michael.
So, I've heard you say, right, and other people, like Abraham is big on this. You do these things, and everything else just takes care of itself.
Yeah, get a bigger
You
picture.
don't need to shrink, and the steps, and all this other stuff, and work on this, and this stuff just, from that vibration of happiness. These other things just,
They come into place. They don't just go away. They come into alignment with that vibration of happiness that you are. So the contract that was falling apart now falls together. The car that was going to blow up now runs another 100,000 miles.
well, I'm thinking more like a thought, like in thoughts that I feel like they're thinking me, you know, like the ones that I feel like I don't have control over, they just,
That's your
party, right?
excuse.
Okay, but it still feels like that sometimes.
Right.
So,
So don't
just
think
focusing
those.
on happiness, that kind of stuff will just start to,
Well, yeah, you fill yourself up with happiness, you focus on what you want, and there's not as much time, discretionary thought to give to negativity. But you have to be willing to not think the thought. And if you're gonna not think a thought that's going to screw up your life, then I'll grant you, sometimes you have to focus on thinking a thought that will lift you. So what thoughts can you think that will lift you? Happy ones, such as
Monkeys, kids.
kids. Think about your kids. You feel like a thought is thinking you. And so you say, oh, I have awareness. I'm a conscious being. I can watch my thoughts. They are not going where I want them to go, so I can choose. This is where the discipline comes in. It's just, such a drag, isn't it? I'm going to choose to be happy. I'm going to choose to think about my children that I love so much that just thinking about them changes my state and lifts me up, and I've got a smile on my face, and my heart is open wide, and my vibration has gone up to where my money is. This is the work. Byron Katie thinks the work is down here. No, the work is up here. The work is to be happy. The work is to think thoughts that lift you. And if you find yourself in the abyss, you've got to have the wherewithal to rise up. This is why it is basic science of mind. Basic science of mind is all about choosing your thoughts and thinking them. And I tell you, if you get a handle on this, there's nothing you can't do. Absolutely nothing you can't do. When you learn how to think, change your thinking, change your life. It's the old slogan before we became ever more aware of our oneness as spirit. It's the old slogan, change your thinking, change your life. And I've always added on to that, change your thinking, change your life, change the world. And there's no way we're going to change the world until we change our thinking. The world is going to stay exactly the way that it is if our thinking stays the way that it is. So think about your kids. Glue a picture of them onto your face and have it hang down in front of your eyes. Lift it up to dry. Otherwise, it defaults to your kids. Because that's your trigger, neuro-linguistic programming. It's your trigger to make you feel better. Sadvi's is having, because I'm happy on her phone ringer. I happen to have the same song, I like it. And you gotta be careful not to just dance out until you didn't answer the phone. But what a difference the calls are when you answer a phone call being happy, instead of you answer a phone call dreading, oh my God, what's this? This is the work. The work is to force yourself to feel good. The work is to make yourself be happy, to notice that you are already rich, to expand your thoughts as big as you can get, and then tomorrow expand them bigger. I like money, and so I always have a lot of it, and I'm not above playing with it, not above sleeping with it, not above throwing it up in the air and watching it fall down. I'm not above that because I like it, so I want to have that in my experience. And I have a lot of money in my experience because I've forced myself to think about it. Think about it. If I ever have a tombstone, the thing is going to say, think about it. That is the only thing. Think about it. What do you want? Think about it. What do you don't want? Well, think about what you've been thinking about and then stop thinking about it and think about what you want. It's that simple. But people have this idea that, oh, I shouldn't be happy until everybody's happy. No. You are the light bearer. You are the way shower. You are the scout that goes forward in the wilderness of consciousness to show people the way. This is the way. That's your job. If you wait until everybody catches up with you, nobody's going anywhere. Your job is to go out there and be happy, to be successful, to be joyous, to be in love, to be blissed out. And there is no other work. There is nothing holier than that. Because what you do when you do that, you shift the vibration of all the consciousness of the people on the planet. And who knows where else, you know, we may be just hanging out on planet Earth and affecting the lives, living experiences, whatever that might be, of a gazillion beings. And you said, I'll go be a light bearer. I'll go be the way shower. So here you are, a light bearer, and you're going, oh, maybe I should put this light out because it's so dark. Does that make sense? When it's dark, you hold your light up higher so you can see. And anybody else around you can see. Maybe I shouldn't have all this money because there's poverty around me. That's the same thing. No, you should have lots and lots of money so that you can do what you want to do. And it doesn't have to be a holy thing. You can go to Jamaica. You know, you don't have to eradicate malaria. You don't have to have peace on earth. You can just go out to lunch and order the expensive things on the menu. You can do that so that that puts in the global soup, I can have this. And somewhere, somebody that's got 8 kids and they're starving gets a little glimpse, I can have that. I can have more. I can have more than just surviving, just scraping by, just having as little as possible. I can have more. That's your job. It's absolutely your job. People say, Barbara, all you're talking about is money. I don't want to go to that center. You expect me to have a new car and have a lot of money. Yes, I do. I do. If you want a new car, I expect you to have it. And, you know, if you're going to get a new car, don't bother with payments. Create the car. It does not have to come with a payment. You had a car given to you.
Free.
Free. You know anybody that might want a car? I usually do. You know, just create the car. Oh, well, that's just more than I can go to. And you're not going far enough. You're not going far enough if having a car that you don't have to go to West End Auto Sales and negotiate clunkers and payments. If you can't go beyond that in your thought of possibilities, you're not going far enough. Go farther. Own the auto industry. Own the auto industry. Susan.
I've had 3 cars when I
Oh, great.
yeah.
And
I
probably,
sometimes forget that, but they knew.
sure, of course. Everything is consciousness. There are no coincidences. That is Ernest's first rule of prosperity on page 67. Nothing happens by chance. You do it. You do it all. Karen.
As some of you know that I got a new job and I was manifesting myself being in that office and all that. And in the meantime, I was also manifesting a certain amount of money. And when I was hired at one rate, and then they called and said, well, you can't start there, that's between 2. So my boss said, okay, give her the higher one. And then within 6 months, the county decided to give everybody across the board raise, and I was in $25 of what I asked for.
Great.
So just
Great.
manifest what you want.
Manifest what you want. I want to see you over the 25.
Got it. I actually make it up in other ways. It's not in that job, but that's okay.
It doesn't matter where it comes from.
Yeah, I agree.
But it's mental discipline. It's mental discipline that you listen to what you think. You listen to what comes out of your mouth, and if it's not spot on, you shift it. I was within $25, not good enough. I was over. There it is. Because you, spirit as you, never falls short. So spirit as you cannot fall short. You can always expand. Remember, you're redshifted. You're always expanding. You're always growing. Otherwise, we're all gone. Poof. No people, no planets, no universes, no time, no space. Poof. All because you wanted to give yourself a little bit of an out. Consider the power that you wield. It is your job to be happy. It is your job to prosper. It is your job to love. It is not okay to hold on to resentments and anger and upset. It is not okay. You drag the entire planet down with you. Here's some woman in somewhere in Africa, skinny as skin and bones, and 8 kids, and everybody's starving, and you can't make it? What hope is there for her? Oh, well, she doesn't know. Yes, she does.
It's probably spiritual.
You're assuming a lot with that one. So it's your job to prosper. It's your job to love. And the person to love is you. But it's you as Mandy, you as Kathleen, you as Becca, you as Sandy, you as Judith, you as Jane. It's you. You've got to love it. Only if you want money. Only if you want to do what is yours in this life. I have no intention of getting to the end of my life and saying, boy, I wimped out. It's not going to happen. It is not going to happen. Boy, I should have, if only I did. I love that. There's some little story about going, you know, because I have this thing with self-care. People use that as an excuse, in my experience, as a way to cop out from really doing anything because they want to take care of themselves. And so there's this cartoon that says, I want to end this life used up. You know, I want to have my hair flying and be battered and slide into heaven with a martini and a cigar and having done everything and I got nothing left. I did it, I lived it. That's how I want to be. And I don't want to say, gee, I could have been rich. I could have loved, could have been happy. I could have been the being that I wanted so much to be. I could have done that if only I had put myself out there a little bit more. If only I had taped the picture of my kids over my face so that that's all I saw. Well, if I only look at my children, I won't get anything else done. Okay. You will establish in consciousness openness and joy, and that will show up in your bank account, in your life, in every experience. Not to mention what this is doing for your body. You know, every time you think a negative thought, you get sick. And studies have proven beyond a shadow of a doubt that every time you think an uplifting thought, you get better. That tumors can come and go with a thought. That people can think themselves sick and they can think themselves well. So every time you hold on to West, and I don't know why I'm talking about West End Auto Sales. It's the only used auto thing I know because it's at the end of the road out here. But every time you go there, instead of owning the auto industry, it takes its toll on your body. So if you've got something going on with your body, the best thing you can do, and this has been scientifically proven in double-blind studies, the best thing you can do, as long as there's a breath in your body, the best thing you can do if you have anything physical is to be happy. Be happy, and it doesn't matter what you're happy about. You're not waiting to be happy until this soulmate walks into your life, until you get that thing or that amount of something, or until this works out. You're not waiting for that. You could get hit by a truck tomorrow. Don't you want to be happy now? The only time is now, Ram Dass. Oh, you're now. The only time you're ever going to be happy is now, so be happy. And then expand your idea of wealth and start noticing how wealthy you are. How wealthy you are right now. Not after the lottery comes through or after you get that other job or you get that raise, right now. And your vibration goes up and that's where your money is. Money doesn't hang out a lot with low, miserable people. Have you noticed that? So your money's flying around at a high vibration and you want to go catch it and meet it and be there and have it show up. I mean, that's my experience of prosperity. So Ernest's second point is there is a power all around you that knows and understands all things. Well, how is this going to happen? You don't need to know. What in the world is going to happen that money shows up in my life? All I have is this check every month. You don't need to know. There's a power that surrounds you that already knows. You don't need to know. Edwin says, how is none of your business? All you know is that you own the auto industry. Wow, how'd you get 5 cars? You know my dog has a car? My dog, Bliss, has an Xterra out there that was given to me for free. Because she needed her car and I didn't want her to get dog hairs in my Buick. I thought that one night, I had the car the next day. Own the auto industry. People will go, my gosh, how come you have a garage with 6 cars in it? Because I own the auto industry. Oh, you want to go to lunch? Number 3, this power works like the soil. It receives the seed of your thought and at once begins to operate upon it. Now that's a nice time and space picture, but at once it doesn't begin to operate on it. At once it grows it full orbed. It's done, it's fruited, it's right there all at once. And number 4, this power will throw back to you whatever you think into it. And so many times we experience that with our negative thoughts instead of our positive thoughts. Have you had something happen right away that was thrown back at you because you danced with a bit of negativity? Yes, I see a lot of heads nodding. Consider that all you have to do is think a little bit bigger, and it will be thrown back right away. This is not process. The only process you have is in your own head. The world doesn't work that way. We are outside of time and space. We are barely touching time and space for whatever sole reason we have of being here. I don't even know, other than it's a very nice planet and I like it. I like people and touch and taste and all that great stuff, but I'm not sure why we're here at all. But I know that most of me is not here. Those of you who have known me for a while will attest to that. Most of me is not here. And so when I'm thinking outside of time and space. It's not a process of planting the seed and watering it and weeding it and watching it grow. I plant the seed and boom, it's there. It's there just like that. Just like that. Just like that. You are a master manifester. You are God in form as you. All of God. There is no process to it. As soon as you experience it, you have it. So whatever it is you have, if you don't want to keep it, stop experiencing it. Well, I have a right to my anger. You do. And you have a right to the life that anger gives you. Oh, well, I was a crick in my back and my knee hurts and I'm constipated. That's because you're angry. It's true. You have a right to your love. You have a right to your joy. You have a right to riches beyond your wildest dreams. You have a right to every good thing, so take it. Take it. Don't stop with, I have a right. I am open to receive. Don't be open to receive. Take it. Oh, I was taught not to take it. Good girls don't take the last cookie. I did. I always took the last cookie. Screw you guys. You know how many millions of gallons of milk have gone bad because nobody wanted to drink the end of it? Or orange juice? Well, don't empty it. Why? It's just going to rot. Take it. Take it. Take it. If the trees and the flowers and the bushes didn't take the sunlight, if they didn't take the moisture, if they didn't take the nutrients out of the soil, they would be dead. The soil doesn't pump up the azalea plants. It doesn't force feed them. The plant has to take it. And maybe there is a little flower or a little weed next to it, and it's going to take it even though that other one may die. So if your big fear is that there's not enough, and remember you just told me that you don't feel that way, but if you have it lurking in the back of your consciousness that there's not enough, and if you have yours, someone else may lose out, so what? Take it anyway. Take it anyway, it's yours. If they had the consciousness to have it, they would be taking it anyway. And the truth is there's more than enough for everybody. But are you going to sit by and watch life go by and not have what is yours because you're afraid somebody else might not get theirs? They're going to get theirs or not, as is their consciousness. You cannot help them by not taking yours. You know, what happens if the tree doesn't absorb the moisture? Then we just have puddles. How does that help? Take it. Be part of, in alignment with your divine destiny. To be happy, to be prosperous, to be healthy, to be whole, to be a loving presence in this world. And all of that comes from having more than enough. Neuroses comes from, I don't have enough. I've got to get you to do what I want you to do so that I can be safe, because I'm not safe inside myself because I don't have enough. That's all how neuroses comes. That's how war comes. I'm going to draw a line in the sand. And if you come over here and try to get my stuff, I'm going to bomb you. That all comes from a sense of lack. You have to have a feeling of more than enough, and then you can be a healing presence in the world. Annie Ritz-Millet says you can't even have a physical healing with someone else if you are not first happy, if you are not first clear about who you are, about what spirit is, and about who that other person is. You can never step over into the realm of actually bringing that healing forth in that other person. You can't go there. So what you have to do is have it inside of yourself and be up at that high vibration. And then what happens is people all around you, they just get better. We have a group consciousness like that. People can simply come to the center and they get better. And I tell them, if you stick around, your life is going to work. If you don't, I can't guarantee anything. But I know that if you come here, even if you come here skeptical and closed down, go right ahead, just come here. Come here and go to sleep. Better yet, I have direct access to your subconscious mind. And then you become who you were meant to be. You're a light bearer. You're a way shower. That's why you came here. But if you've gotten yourself so convinced that you're not, and that you have to continue to act out pain and suffering and struggle and lack and limitation of all kinds, then you'll never do what you meant to do. And I'm not willing to see you do that. So I'm going to harass you every time I see you. Don't come up to me with a frown. Don't call me and say I'm so sad. I worked myself up into being so sad, and now I want to come and dump that sadness on you. I am not your sad go-to girl. I'm your happy girl. I'm your powerful girl. I'm your prosperous girl. That's who I am. And when you can begin to get who you are, you won't need me for that. You'll just be your own light. And then people will come to you. And they'll want a little bit of that. And before you know it, the world has changed. Look at us. Malaria is almost completely eradicated. I mean, we're growing our own measles crop. But malaria is almost completely eradicated. People used to have children based on how many were going to die, for how many would make it to adulthood. You want to have 2 kids make it to adulthood, you gotta have 8. The 6 are going to die. It's really hard on the moms. It's hard on the economy. So, that's all I got for you. I love you. Take out what you're going to give. Be happy. Be prosperous. Wow, you have so much money. You have a checking account. Wow. You have money that you're not using, credits on loan. You have cash. Wow, you got American dollars. Those are pretty special in a lot of places on the earth. And what I know is that we are amazing, magnificent, powerful, spiritual beings doing good on our spiritual path. We are mastering the art of happiness. We are mastering the art of prosperity. We are mastering the art of love. We are knowing who we are right here and right now, God in form as us. And so each one of us inside of ourselves stands straight and tall. We hold our heads up. We speak in our outside voices. We take what is ours and we live the divine life that we were meant to live, that we are meant to live. A life where life on planet Earth is a blessing beyond compare. where we get to touch and experience and smell and taste wonderful, wonderful things, where we see the beauty in all of life. This is who we are. And it is from this place that we give this gift tonight, knowing that that energy that we are at that high level goes with our gift, filling this center for spiritual living, bringing everything about its finances and all of the things that it does up to that high level of joy and prosperity, health, wholeness, and love, so that everyone who walks in the door, they feel it, because we were here, because we showed up, because we opened up and we gave. I know that that energy touches each and every one of us and goes to make this center all that it was ever meant to be. It is a place of peace, a beacon of light, a tower of strength, and a fountain of wisdom for all who call it home. And so it is. Smile. Smile when you put that money out there. Smile. Come back to me, baby. Bring all your friends. We've got a lot of bends. Bring it. Smile. Be in your joy. Raise your vibration. Money is seeking you out. God has ways of giving you money you've never even dreamed of yet. Things are in the works right now. People you have not met yet are conspiring for your good, for your experience in life. Money is seeking you out and finding you right here and right now. And I know that everything in these baskets is blessed because we are the blessing. And I know that that energy that is us goes with our giving, filling up this room from the floor to the ceiling, all between the walls. God kisses us with prosperity. It brushes our hair with happiness. It lifts us in remembering who we are, touching and blessing and healing each and every one of us, going out around the world to change the consciousness of every man, woman, and child and being on this planet, to lift up into that awareness that life is a blessing and life is a gift, and we are meant to be in our joy. And so it is. So it is. Love you all. Have a wonderful, wonderful week. Come on Sunday, I'm going to be marvelous.